So what is this idea of a price war? And I hesitate to bring a Communist Party reference to a Calgary business audience, but Leon Trotsky, one of the founders of the Communist Party in the Soviet Union, had this great expression: you may not be interested in war, but war is interested in you. Right? In this case, we're talking about a price war, but it's a very important price war. And the way that the Saudis think about the world, the issues and sensitivities that they have for their own economy and their own internal stability matter a great deal to all other oil producers around the world, particularly the higher cost producers like us here in Alberta. So what are the Saudis really trying to slide here? But essentially, we're looking at a scenario where every year, this year, 2015, the Saudis need about $270 billion to balance their budget. That's how much they expect to spend. And with a new king and with very strong concerns about security in the region with the Iranians, having seen other neighboring Arab governments collapse in revolution over the last 3 or 4 years, Libya, Syria, Egypt, they're not going to cut spending, right? Spending is going to remain fixed, both externally and domestically. What they have done is increase production, and there's a trade-off between the actual production increase and the absolute price level as well. Right now, prices are $50 a barrel, right? And they're exporting about 7 million barrels a day. That means they're going to have to borrow about $120 billion from their strategic financial reserves, right? To make up that gap in oil revenue, to keep spending constant. That's a lot of money. It's a lot bigger than a lot of other jurisdictions' oil reserves for sure. They have about $700 billion to spend, but at this rate, they would spend the whole thing in 5 years if oil prices stay at $50 a barrel, right? Our view is that they probably want to see prices here for another year or two, and they don't mind seeing industry spending drop off. In that previous slide that showed U.S. oil production growth running away, they're happy that that's not the case anymore. But I'm not so sure they're going to keep prices at $50 a barrel or try to keep them there for 4 or 5 years and spend their entire $700 billion reserves. If you look at a $65 price scenario, a lot less pressure on the Saudi budget, right? In this case, their deficit is only $40 billion. $40 billion out of 700, not so bad, right? So that $15 a barrel price swing has a huge impact on the Saudi budget on their financial reserves. Our bet is that by the end of this year, they want to see prices one way or the other back above $60 a barrel. We think they're surprised by how quickly prices have come off, and it's overshot their target, and they want to see prices not back at 80 or at 100, but certainly at above 60. Where this financial pressure on them is a lot less acute. That also works well in the sense of a $60 price will certainly stimulate some growth in Canada and the US, but not at that breakaway pace we saw between 2010 and 2014.